And she's got to go get in her big black taxpayer-funded SUV. That's what happens when you don't have transparency in the government. Why do you deserve a big black taxpayer-funded SUV? Is that why you're so against Doge? Is that what the problem is? What's up with the lack of transparency in your... What's the problem with transparency?
All right, folks, let's just dive right in. Picture this. Maxine Waters, you know, our favorite California Democrat with a knack for unfiltered commentary, steps onto Chris Cuomo's show and decides to, well...
Congresswoman Maxine Waters, currently serving her 17th term, just won re-election in her district. Representative, congratulations. What is the lesson that your party should have learned?
Well, the Democratic Party worked very hard, and they raised, substantial sum of money. We had great candidates, and so Trump had a following, basically generally led by whites. White males voted in big numbers. He had a few from the other race groups that joined in, like the Latinos at 45%, and black men at about the same rate that they did when they voted for him before, at about 20%. That combination won. And so it is not that Democrats did not work hard, did not do a great job. We had an unusual situation where we had a black woman, which this country has never seen before. A combination of all of those things led to his win.
Go full throttle on her views about race and politics. This is not your typical TV segment, let me tell you. Right from the start, she starts spinning tales about race and politics, diving into a narrative that, quite frankly, sounds like she's living in a totally different reality. You got to see Cuomo's face during all of this. It's priceless. His eyes are just full of disbelief, barely hanging on in this whirlwind of words from Waters. She doesn't hold back, and honestly, that's where things get, let's say, intense. If you're looking for a moment where someone might just want to facepalm themselves on live television, this is it. Waters truly believes her party's actions are justified and necessary, bringing out every controversial belief she's got like it's some grand act of resistance or something. And while she speaks, the tension in Cuomo's demeanor is almost palpable. Watching him handle her rhetoric is, well, a show in itself. Now, before I get ahead of myself, remember to hit that subscribe button if you want more candid breakdowns like this. I'm on a mission, guys. 1,000 subscribers by end of February. Come on, join our community. Let's keep the conversation going and never miss a video. Seriously, subscribing would make my day. It's like my little fuel to keep this channel alive. So, what's everyone thinking so far about Maxine's latest escapade on TV? Let's hear your thoughts below. Okay, so let's get into what went down during the actual Waters-Cuomo exchange. Honestly, from the get-go, you could feel the tension. Maxine Waters has never been the type to shy away from controversy, and this time was no different. She throws out bold statements, claiming that racial and gender dynamics were critical in shaping recent political outcomes, which, isn't a surprise coming from her. But it's the conviction in her voice that just stands out, almost as if she's daring anyone to challenge her. Then there's Chris Cuomo. The guy's doing his best to keep a straight face and maintain his composure, but you can see that he's definitely a bit skeptical.
Will you work with Donald Trump and his party, or are you going to work on ways to investigate him?
Well, Donald Trump is whom he is. He is a liar. He is someone who has abandoned his own party in the way that he deals with people. There was, at one time, you could think about the Republican Party as being extraordinarily patriotic. This is a man who is in line with Putin and Kim Jong-un in North Korea. He doesn't give a damn about patriotism. So are you asking me, can I work with him? What can I do to, I guess, not investigate him? He'll only get investigated when he does bad things. He has been investigated. He has been charged, not because someone was out to get him. It is because he performed ungodly things.
Each time Maxine shoots up her rhetoric, Cuomo tries to insert some level of reason. He's like, okay, but is race really the only aspect? Maybe, just maybe, there might be other factors at play here, folks. Yet, Maxine stands firm. She insists that Trump's support base was predominantly certain demographics. She paints a picture that maybe doesn't entirely line up with election data. Cuomo starts hitting back gently, not outright dismissing her claims to avoid backlash from his own audience, but probing deeper with questions. Do these arguments overlook the broader, maybe more universally shared concerns about economy or security? It's a classic case of two worlds colliding. Waters is firm in her beliefs, emphasizing that Democrats don't understand the playing field. According to her, they miscalculate the weight of racial and gender issues in voters' decisions. Cuomo, trying to bridge the gap, suggests that perhaps her assessment is a little too focused on race. He brings up voting patterns, the economy, even foreign policy, trying to broaden the conversation. But Waters isn't having it. You see, throughout the conversation, she weaves in her own version of history, insisting Democrats failed not because they didn't work hard, but because the deck was stacked against them by these social disparities. And Cuomo's expressions? Well, they're just priceless. You can't help but think he's internally screaming, maybe thinking, Maxine, there are other dynamics too. Still, Waters persists in her sight of a black woman candidate as unprecedented. Cuomo challenges back subtly. He introduces Bernie Sanders' perspective, which is, kind of funny if you think about it. Sanders asserts that Democrats are straying from focusing on working people, a point that Waters tries to deflect. She attempts to reel it in by championing her party's efforts, but Cuomo doesn't let go. He steers the discussion towards broader implications, asking if Democrats perhaps overstated Trump's negatives rather than promoting substantive policies. Waters doesn't back down, though. She embraces a narrative where Democrats were outmaneuvered by demographics, not policy shortcomings. What ensues is a back and forth of interpretations. Cuomo maintains his role, assessing how, despite Waters' opinions, Democratic strategies should probably realign closer to kitchen table issues than emphasizing identity politics. Each point he raises meets Waters' rebuttals, thickening the plot without losing the audience's attention. As if that's not enough, Cuomo drops what seems like a bombshell, referencing Alan Lichtman's points about past elections, particularly about Trump's unpredictability and supposed racial undertones in his base. This swerves the dialogue into the territory of historical analysis. Waters argues aspects of Trumpism reflect America's deep-seated issues but doesn't quite convincingly tie them back to the present election discourse. Cuomo, knowing he's walking a tightrope, doesn't fully buy into the historical argument, focusing instead on current party alignment and effectiveness. He questions if Democrats need to rethink their approach, considering Trump's resilience isn't merely about race as Waters proposes, but layered with tangible political and economic dynamics. Throughout, Waters is determined. Her narrative is unwavering, casting Democrats as victims of a societal divide fueled by race and gender bias. She remains expressive, sometimes dramatically so, in defending the philosophy that drives Democratic strategies, even if, from this side of the screen, it's clear Cuomo might think her perceptions are skewed. One thing's for sure, this conversation is a mix of disbelief, ideological clash, and a scramble to find common ground. It makes you wonder if debates like these genuinely cut to the heart of the real issues impacting American voters, or just highlight the persistent divide. As the exchange wraps up, it's hard to miss how Cuomo's expression conveys his quiet resignation. He's attempted his best to keep the conversation balanced, but Waters' convictions seem, at times, impervious to logical counterpoints. Listening to Maxine Waters and Chris Cuomo dissect complex themes, you can't help but feel a spectrum of emotions: curiosity, frustration, even a chuckle or two at the entire saga. It's a spectacle that's both fascinating and telling, illuminating fault lines not just between individual personalities but within the broader political narratives they represent. All right, now it's your turn. After witnessing such an exchange, what do you think about Maxine's take on the role of race and gender in politics? And how do you feel about Cuomo's effort to navigate these choppy waters? Drop a comment down below. I'm really curious to hear where you all stand on this one.